Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you all are doing well. Today I'm going to share very interesting 11 useful time-saving cooking tips that will not only make your cooking job easier but also will save your time in kitchen. These tips are very practical and healthier too. From bachelors to working women to busy moms, these tips will be very useful in your daily life. Hope you like this video. Let's start. So the first step is kneading dough in 10 to 15 seconds without using food processor or kneading machine. Let's see how. So here I have taken a cup of flour. To this we need half cup of water. Now take a grinding jar and add the flour. Yes, we're gonna knead the dough in a normal mixer grinder. Add the flour, then goes in water, required amount of salt and a tablespoon of oil. Now just give a quick pulse 3 to 4 times and you can see the dough is ready. See, just in seconds we kneaded the dough. And you can look at the jar. If you're a busy mom, working woman or a bachelor, this tip is a great time saver. Add little oil and knead to form smooth texture. And you can see how soft the dough has turned. Another time-saving tip on how to make and freeze rotis and doughs, I've shared a detailed video. We'll share the link in description. If you're interested, you may have a look. Moving ahead, the next useful tip is how to grind chutney instantly without cooling them down. Normally when we make chutney mixture, we need to allow it to cool down before blending, right? As it's dangerous to grind on a mixture jar while it's still hot. So this cooling takes around 15 to 20 minutes. So for saving time, I'm using a hand blender here. Just blend with a short pulse. In this way, the chutney will be grounded fine and smooth in few seconds. Just remember, if you are using whole dry red chilies, break and add while tempering. Otherwise, it splutters while blending. See, smooth chutney is ready. Give a quick tempering and you can serve the chutney instantly. With this, we move on to another very useful and time-saving tip is how to defrost frozen fish in 10 to 12 minutes. Sometimes we forget to thaw and we realize we need it for cooking immediately, and you know thawing takes longer time. So simply fill up water in a larger bowl, ensuring the frozen bag to immerse completely. Then add 2 tablespoons of salt and half a cup of vinegar. Mix. Then place the frozen bag and immerse in the water. You see it starts to float. So just place heavy object and allow it to immerse completely. In just 10 to 12 minutes, the frozen fish will be thawed perfectly. No need to use hot water nor oven for defrosting. Use this simple tip and you see how well it gets defrosted. Now let me show you how fresh the texture looks. The same tip you may use for frozen meat or chicken and it will work. Now you can see the fish is ready. You may fry them or make curry as you like. In my channel, I have shared several fish recipes from fry to curries to biryani. You may check on my channel playlist if you like. So it was lunchtime that day and I was preparing fish fry. So I was applying some masalas and you can see the marination is done. Next, moving on, how to fry fryams non-sticky. Usually deep fried items are strained on paper towel to absorb excess oil. Now we'll share how you can reduce oil absorption even while deep frying them. Kids to adults, everyone likes to have fryams or papads or fries, and no matter how much we try to strain the oil, it still absorbs plenty of oil and we can see the traces on the tissue paper. As you can see here. Now to reduce this, add a pinch or 1/4 teaspoon of salt into hot oil and then try frying them. And then you will see it absorbs less oil. Now let me show you. You can see here. It's minimized comparatively, and this is the previous one. You may use the same tip while frying puris too. Next, into the same oil, I started frying fish too. Next, we will see a very useful tip on how to sprout variety of chickpeas together. For that, first take required quantity of chickpeas. Here I have taken half a cup each of green gram, that's moong dal. Then goes in variety of chickpeas, that's white chana, chauli, that's black eyed pea, rajma and chole chana, all equal quantity. Usually sprouts are made using green moong dal. Try using variety of chickpeas for more healthier version. Now wash them well and then we're going to store the washed water. Do not discard them, as this we'll be using it later. Now add sufficient water and soak the chickpeas overnight or at least 8 to 10 hours. While this is getting soaked, let's proceed with another very useful tip, that's how to avoid overflowing or spillage while cooking in pressure cooker and how to cook softer dal perfectly and evenly. So here I am going to prepare khatti dal. We'll soon share the recipe on my channel. So I have taken half a cup of tur dal and 1/4 cup each of masoor dal and moong dal, that's red lentil and yellow lentil. Wash it well and storing the washed water in a separate bowl. Now soak the dal for 15 to 20 minutes. Soaking softens the dal, speeds up the cooking process and is also good for digestion. Now gonna cook the dal in the pressure cooker. So add the dal into it and then add water. The water level should be around 1 to 1.5 inch above the dal, as excess water will lead to spillage. Now add in the ingredients you require. I'll share a detailed recipe soon. Now another important tip is add little oil into the dal, as it also helps in preventing spillage. Moving ahead to the next step is how to prevent overflowing or spillage. Apply a drop of oil on the inner part of the lid, that's the whistle area, and now bring the dal to boil before closing the lid. Once dal starts to boil, then you may close the lid, and this way the dal cooks faster. Now you can see the pressure. There isn't any overflowing or spillage of dal, right? Also cook the dal for 3 to 4 whistles only and not more than that. Once pressure releases on its own, let's check the dal. See how soft and evenly the dal has cooked? Just run the spoon and it will mash the dal. No need of hand masher or blender. See how soft and smooth the texture of the dal is? I'm just running the spoon and the dal is thoroughly mashed. Now adding tamarind water, and now at this stage I'm going to take a portion of this dal, and once it comes to room temperature, I'm going to store this dal into a container and going to freeze them for later use. You may freeze the dal up to 3 months. Whenever required, just defrost the dal and give tempering and delicious khatti dal will be ready. Once defrosted, this is how it looks. Upon thawing, just give the tempering and delicious dal is ready. Once defrosted, I do not refreeze the dal again. That's why only freeze portion size dal and use it whenever required. Now coming back to the soaked chickpeas, I transfer it to a larger container and you can see they are soaked well. Now simply rinse the chickpeas with plain water. Give a rinse and strain the excess water. And let this sit on a strainer itself. And then we're going to cover it with a wet cloth. This is a kitchen towel. Just cover it and let this sit till it gets well sprouted. After 6 hours, it started to sprout, as you can see here. So what I do is I just rinse them every 6 to 7 hours once and then cover them with wet cloth again. And then allow them to continue sprouting. I did this for 2 days or until they got sprouted fully. Very simple, rinse them every 6 to 7 hours and cover them with wet cloth. And after 2 days, you can see they are sprouted very well. Remember, do not over sprout, as it might grow molds, cause soggy texture and get a sour smell, which is not good for health. Once it's well sprouted, we're going to give a good rinse one last time. And we're going to strain off the excess water. And also we're going to store these water now. And store the sprouts in a container. Super healthy sprouts are ready. Take the required amount of sprouts and make your favorite recipes or have as it is. Sprouts stays fresh for a week in refrigerator. Very healthy recipes coming up using these sprouts will share soon. Today I prepared sprouts curry, very healthy and tasty recipe. With this, moving on to another very useful tip on how to cook bhindi or okra non-sticky, that's to avoid slimy texture that often forms while cooking. The first tip is buy bhindi that looks fresh and tender in texture as it breaks easily if you press the end tip. Now the next tip is wash and dry the bhindi. There shouldn't be any moisture left. They need to be completely dry. Then chop them as you prefer. And now we're going to add on our favorite tempering ingredients. So that day I was preparing bhindi fry. So into oil added some mustard seeds, cumin seeds, garlic, onion, green chilies, curry leaves. Cook for a while. Then add in turmeric powder and asafoetida. Now add in the chopped bhindis. The pan might look overfilled. However, as the bhindi cooks, it shrinks and reduces. As you can see here, continue to cook on medium-low flame. Initially, you see the slimy texture. That's normal. Now continue to cook till bhindi is well fried. Important tip here is never cover and cook the bhindi as it releases moisture and will make bhindi more non-sticky. Another important tip, do not add salt at the initial stage. You may add only after the bhindis are very well fried and cooked, as salt too releases moisture while it's uncooked. You can see here the bhindis are cooked well and they are not slimy nor soggy and completely non-sticky as we continuously fried and cooked them well. At this stage you can add salt and the other spices you need and then give a mix and simmer for another 2 to 3 minutes. And you'll see a delicious non-sticky bhindi fry is ready. So remember these tips while buying bhindis and making them, and every time you try you get a non-sticky bhindi and tastier bhindi always. Now moving ahead to a very simple and effective tip is how to store eggs. Whenever you buy eggs, try to buy with closest production date, that's current month date, and usually when we buy from store we often see a layer of dirt and muddy texture over it. And if you use it as it is, and if it accidentally the shell fails while breaking, these dirts are hard to remove from the yolk leading to spoilage, and if consumed they are not good for health. So I always wash them before storage. So simply scrub and wash in running water and then store them. You may also soak them in salt water for a while and then scrub and wash if you like it. With this, we are coming to the end of the video. Hope you liked all the useful tips. Let me know which tip you liked the most. Finally, all these washed waters I kept accumulating while cooking and used them for watering my plants. As these waters are highly nutritious, acts as a natural fertilizer for them and helps them in their healthy growth. Do follow these tips and don't forget to share the video to your loved ones if you found it useful. We'll see you soon with another interesting video. Until then, take care of yourself. Thanks for watching. Happy cooking. Take care. Bye-bye.